Oh, he's jumping. Here we go.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
I don't know what made me do that.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna open up with a little Jerry Lewis slapstick, and then I'm gonna run all around the room.
The caffeine kicked in, yes?
Not yet, but until it does.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, happy 20th anniversary to Spongebob.
What, 20 years?
20 years.
That's almost a third of my life.
I know, but you've done it well.
Thank you. It's
You're
been a
welcome.
blast.
Hey, we've got a huge line over here of a lot of people who want to ask questions. So if you want to stand up and ask your question for Mr. King.
Okay, so I was wondering if, besides SpongeBob, what was your favorite cartoon to work on?
Wow, you know, I gotta say, I don't think that there's ever been a cartoon that I didn't have a good time on. You know, like even the ones where sometimes the material isn't exactly what I love, or something. The people are cool, the coworkers are neat, the other actors are fun, and it's just now it's starting to catch up with me.
There's a chair.
This is the desert, isn't it?
It is.
I don't believe in chairs.
Okay, no.
I haven't used a chair in 57 years. You see me at my table, right? I never sit down. But they're all fun, you know, but I love SpongeBob. I feel like SpongeBob is the thing, the character that really changed my life. Like Steve Hillenburg gave me a gift when he chose me to voice this character that, you know, has lasted so long to the point where it's multi-generational, where people in their 20s and older, you know, still love it, and it's still in production, you know? It's not like a nostalgic thing. It's, you know, it still seems current. But I love the Powerpuff Girls, the mayor, you know, he was fun. Look at John Pickles, you know? I would say the Powerpuff Girls was fun, because Gendy Tartakovsky, Craig McCracken, Lauren Faust, those people were so creative, and they were just starting to hit their stride. So being around all that creativity is just a real turn on, you know? What's your name?
Sloan.
Sloan? That's a cool name. Wow, can I say it? So once again, the day is saved thanks to Sloan. Good question, Sloan. Is it cool if I stand over here?
You do whatever you
now
want.
now I feel like I'm ignoring you.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
My question is, if you did become a voice actor, what would you have wanted to become?
Man, you know, I would have wanted to become an animator, but then I realized pretty early on that I just didn't have that level of drawing skill. Like, you have to be really good. And those guys, my son is a 21-year-old animation major, you know, at SVA in New York, and those guys just draw all the time, like it's a compulsion. So I grew up loving animation and wanting to be in the world of animation somehow, but I just didn't have the draftsmanship skills, you know, I just wasn't blessed with that. And I knew that no matter what amount of hard work I put into it, I wasn't gonna be up to that level. So voiceover seemed like a natural way to get into animation because, you know, I was a stand-up, I was a sketch comedian and did some on-camera acting. And so I was like, okay, maybe voiceover is a way to get into cartoons. But if I wasn't doing that, I'd probably still be doing stand-up and not really loving it. Or, you know what's funny? I have no plan B. I have no plan B. My wife is also an actor. She plays the voice of Karen the computer on Spongebob as well. Yeah. But who's named after Steve Hillenburg's wife, Karen Hillenburg, so it's all very incestuous. But she, a bunch of hillbillies. But she, yeah, her and I have 0 days of college experience between us, you know. So like I right out of high school, I started doing stand-up and playing in bands and stuff, and then one thing kind of led to another, and it you know, now here I am, 57, going, oh, I guess college ain't gonna happen for me, you know. But and my wife started doing, she started doing improv with Second City in Chicago almost right out of high school. So yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing. Probably living in a cardboard box under a bridge. Thanks. These guys are great, man. Give it up to these guys with their great questions. On a Sunday, and school's out, right? School ended? Is school over for you for the year?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You're gonna have a great summer.
My question is there any characters that was really difficult to voice?
That's a great question. Where the characters are difficult to voice. You know, people think that Spongebob is difficult to voice, which usually isn't true. Because you know, you can usually go right up there. It just comes in through your nose. So people think, wow, that high voice, that must be hard. I go, you know, that's kind of like a comfortable old shoe that you can slip into, unless, like, sometimes I get bad allergies, like it's just happened in LA, and it's crazy for allergies all over the country, right? Because it's like the blooming season goes on forever, and there's record rain, so people with allergies are suffering. So I noticed during those times, reaching for those high notes of Spongebob. You know, it's the best day ever! Oh, you know, sometimes you go, oh, I can't hit that ever, man. I gotta wait till the seasons change. But the ones that are hard are the guttural ones. You know, there's a show called Clarence on Cartoon Network. There was a guy called Sumo, right? There was like a little kid, like Popeye's little nephews on the Popeye cartoons. What are we gonna do today, Sumo? You know, like something like that. Oh boy, wanna go play in the garbage dump, Sumo? So it's like that's hard. And Eduardo on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
4 hours of talking like that, like really from the back of your throat, like you're gargling with Drano. That was really hard. Like, I like potatoes.
I would have a blast doing that, and then I would leave, 4 hours later and go, ouch, you know? So I think the gutter ones, monsters, stuff like that, that kind of rips you up a little bit. So I try to save those for the end of the day. What's your name?
Autumn.
Thanks, great question, Autumn, thanks. That is not a Phoenix friendly cosplay.
No.
That is heavy and fuzzy.
Okay, so my question is, like, they usually ask you to get in a character, like know the character and stuff, but what was it like working on Spyro where they're not really kind of asking you to get in a character, but you're like, could you copy what you sounded like 10 years ago, and you're listening to all your old recordings?
Yeah, great question. It was actually more than 10 years ago. Spyro was like, wasn't Spyro like late 90s? Like 98, something like that. And yeah, that was weird because Spyro was something that, like I said, it was done all those years ago, like I said, I think 97, 98, 99. And then we did those 3 games, and then it was kind of done, Spyro's over, and you go, oh, that was fun. And then you forget about it. And then I started noticing, even before they did the reboot, the reignited Spyro trilogy, I noticed that there was like kind of a rise in Spyro love happening, like at cons, like more Spyro stuff that I was signing and people asking about Spyro, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I think it was just, temporally, I think it was just the people that played the game kind of growing up and romanticizing it or remembering it fondly. So I think Sony picked up on that. And so they had me come in, and like you said, they had to re-record all the audio from those 3 games because the sound just wasn't up to the quality that they need nowadays. So, but because the people playing the games wanted to sound like what they grew up on, they're kind of purists, they played that game 1,000 times, they've heard those lines 1,000 times. So it's gotta be really close, So how they did it was just, we looked at original animation and new animation of the game side by side, and they played my old reads from all those years ago, and I tried not to sound like a senior citizen version of Spyro. Come on, Sparks, we're going to Dragon Shore. Was that a sheep? I forget it. You gotta keep that youthful energy in your voice, Come on, Sparks, we're going to Dragon Shores. So it's like, that was an interesting challenge, but yeah, it's really just kind of hearing it, processing it, and regurgitating it. So thanks, good question.
Hi, I'm Nathan. Big fan. Favorite shows ever is Adventure Time, and Spyro the Dragon was literally the very first game I ever played as a kid.
Oh really? Oh cool. Which one?
The first one.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Elijah Wood's in the house at this con too, right?
Yeah,
So there's 2 Spyros.
I know.
Let's say we're gonna have a Spyro throwdown, Come on, Frodo, you and me, let's go.
But obviously,
From
even
one Spyro to rule them all.
even though, like you said, you love voice acting and you know you don't really have a plan B, are there ever moments where you feel like you're sort of, especially like with SpongeBob, you're ever get kind of moments where you get tired of voicing the same character who's been on TV almost as long as like The Simpsons, like doing the same voice over and over?
You know, I can honestly say no. You know, like I love SpongeBob, and you know, 20 years is such an amazing run, and it's weird. Like since season 4, I've kind of been preparing myself psychologically and emotionally for the time when I'm not going to be doing SpongeBob anymore. You know, everything, all good things must end, as they say, and it almost did end after season 4. You know, Steven Hillenburg wanted to end it, and then Nickelodeon was like, they looked at the cast they were making, and they were like, nope. So you know, I look at every SpongeBob session that I've done since season 4 as just a blessing, like lucky, like icing on the cake. And I think part of the reason is, like, I know that people that on-camera actors that do the same character for a long, long time in a sitcom or movies or whatever get tired of it. But I think with SpongeBob is, for me, a 4-hour session a week. You know, we do it Wednesdays, 2 to 6. So I go in, and the actors are all friends, and they're all amazing. I'm the voice director for the last few seasons.
Nice.
So I direct everybody: Bill Fager, Baki Patrick, Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs, you know, Carolyn Lawrence, Sandy, Mr. Lawrence, Roger Bumpus, Squidward, and everybody is just so fun. Like we're friends. 20 years you've been working with the same people, you know. We've watched our kids grow up and go to college, you know, parents get older and sometimes pass away, and you know, we've just been through all this life together, and we love each other. So I really look forward to SpongeBob, and especially since Steve Hillenburg passed away last Thanksgiving, it's now we kind of look at it as this sacred trust that we have. You know, we got to carry on this thing, and Steve, you know, had plans beyond, you know, for SpongeBob beyond, like seasons and stories and movies beyond, that he worked on after he was diagnosed with ALS. So we kind of look at it as this thing that we, you know, we love doing it, we got to do it, and as long as there's still, you know, a desire for new SpongeBob stuff, we want to be the ones doing it. We want to make it as good as we can. And that's from the heart, you know, that's true. That's true, we love it. So yeah, I don't resent SpongeBob at all. I think if you were on a TV show where 5 days a week, you know, you were working on this thing for months and months and months, then you get a little break, then you go back, and 5 days a week you work on this thing. But SpongeBob is 1 day a week where I'm SpongeBob, and I love it, I embrace it. And then the other 4 days a week, I'm doing other things, you know. Sometimes it's, you know, everything from PBS Kids preschool stuff to, you know, Adult Swim, you know, more scatological stuff, everything in between, you know. And so I feel like, I never feel like SpongeBob is strangling me, like oh God, I can do so much more than this character, because I do other stuff other than that character. So I feel like I have this beautiful, lucky lottery scratcher where I can have my cake literally and eat it too. My sponge cake, I guess it would eat, and eat it too. So yeah, so no, I love SpongeBob. Great picture.
Hello, I'm Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel.
I was wondering, over the years, how much have you influenced the characters you played, specifically like SpongeBob? How much do they allow you to make the character more your own, like insert your ideas in?
Yeah, you know, every show is different, you know, and you kind of, the more, you know, after you work a lot, you kind of suss it out where, you know, some shows are cool with ad-libbing and messing around with the script and stuff like that, and they welcome it. You know, they're like, yeah, it's great, go further with that. Other shows are like, you know, this is our 20th rewrite. And they don't say that to you. You just kind of sense it. Like, this is one of those shows where I say what's on the page, and that's what I work with. I'm not trying to plus it or think outside the box on it. My job on this is just to play the drum part. You know what I mean? And so you kind of figure that out. Now, I've been really fortunate that I've worked on a lot of shows with creators that say, you know, go for it. If you could, anything you guys can do to make it funny or bring your personality to it. Hillenburg would always say, you know these characters as well as I do, maybe better than I do. So, you know, Bill, you're Patrick, you know, Roger, you're Squidward, Tom, you're Spongebob. And so we always, especially when I'm directing everybody, and we always record in the same room, which is really good for ad-libbing and stuff, you know. I always tell those guys, we'll do two takes as written, and then you know, then we have the third take we call the SH and giggles take, where we can go crazy. So, you know, ad lib, try to find laughs that aren't there. You know what I mean? And as long as it's appropriate to SpongeBob or appropriate to the characters, a lot of that gets in. Sometimes it's inappropriate, which is pretty funny too. But Nickelodeon ain't gonna put it on the air. So yeah, it really varies from show to show. But Craig McCracken was always really good about letting us ad lib. Steve Hillenburg, Gendy Tartakovsky, like with Scaramouche on Samurai Jack, on the latest Samurai Jack. You know, Jackie, baby. Yeah, like he just said, yeah, just scat, just be as stupid as you want. You know what I mean? Just go for it. And so I really love when they just let me off the leash and let me run around the voiceover dog park. You know, that's really fun. That's kind of what I always wanted to do. But there is a certain interesting Rubik's Cube, you know, right brain, left brain pleasure to be had in those jobs where you just gotta do it. You know what I mean? You just gotta figure out what shape puzzle piece they want you to be, and then just be that puzzle piece. And I kind of like working on all different kinds of shows. You know, commercials are very like that. Everything's been through the ad agency and the client, so there's no messing around on those. You know. So thanks, man. Great question. Thank you. You guys are the politest con crowd of all time. You guys are awesome. These guys do deserve a round of applause. That's a good question. You're right.
All right, hello, I'm Michael.
I recognize you from yesterday.
Oh, thanks. I just want to let you know, I am looking forward to Rocko's Modern Life static claim. And also, I do have a SpongeBob related question. When it came to SpongeBob BC, was the Cayman dialogue actually written, or did they possibly write it for you guys to ad-lib it?
You know, I think they wrote out some phonetic stuff just for timing in SpongeBob BC, right? Spongegar and Petar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is it? Tabonga Doo? I think that was just us messing around. Tabonga Doo. You know? And Bill Fangerbakke is one of the funniest people in the business. Ironically, he's one of the smartest guys I know, like Mensa smart, but he plays stupid characters like so brilliantly. I'm just like, you know, Bill, I realize that you have to be really smart to play dumb guys so good, you know? So yeah, SpongeBob BC was fun. We did that weird wraparound where Patchy the pirate was messing around with a caveman that was played by Bill. It was like one of the weirdest things ever on SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think we were just making weird noises and repeating after each other and just, you know, having a good time. And as far as Static Cling, the Rocko's Modern Life reboot, Half Around Rocko's Modern Life was my first series that I ever did, animated-wise, yeah. And it's where I met Steve Hillenburg. Yes, Steve Hillenburg was the creative director on Rocko. You know, it was his first job in animation, my first job in animation, and then a lot of people that helped midwife, you know, birth, you know, what I call the SpongeBob doulas, you know, that like helped the SpongeBob pilot like look like it did, and sound like it did. Those guys all came up on Rocko, you know. But the weird thing is, I was talking to somebody at Nickelodeon, and we had a cast and crew screening of Static Cling like months and months ago, you know. And it's great, you know. They did it 2D. They you know, hand painted watercolor backgrounds like the show, like they did it the exact old way it looks and feels like a lost episode of Rocko from like 1997, you know. But they don't know where to do it. They're like, wow, you know, like the Nickelodeon audience is maybe a little too young for Rocko to remember it. So they're like, you know, what do we put it on Nick at Night? Do we put it on VH1? Like where is the Rocko audience in 2019? So I don't know if they're going to do a Netflix thing with it or what. They're trying to figure it out. We had a blast making it though.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for your great question.
So I'm 16 years old and I've been watching SpongeBob since I was born, so it's just such an honor to be talking to you right now. I was just wondering what your opinion was on the SpongeBob Broadway musical.
Has anybody seen the SpongeBob Broadway musical? Did you guys like it?
Yeah.
I loved it, you know? Like, it's funny, like, I didn't know what to expect. I gotta be honest, my first reaction was, I don't know about that, you know? Like, what's the reason for that to exist, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, is there a real, it's like live action Aladdin, you know what I mean? I'm like, is everybody really asking for this, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and, but it turned out to be this really creative, fun project, you know? And I went to Chicago to see it in previews before it went to Broadway, and I didn't have any expectations, you know what I mean? I was trying to go in with no pre-expectation, not be cranky and negative about it, and not be pie in the sky, you know, just be honest with myself about what I thought about it. And it blew me away. I thought it was terrific. And then when I heard that they used Best Day Ever, which is a song I wrote in the play, I'm like, oh, I want this thing to play forever, you know? Hey, Broadway songwriter bucks, you know, bring it on. You know, so yeah, I was pleasantly, not just surprised, but blown away. And then Ethan, the Broadway SpongeBob, and I, you know, got to be friends. You know, he's the only other guy to ever play SpongeBob in anything other than me. You know, I've done every game, every toy, every episode of SpongeBob, every movie. Like nobody else has ever done the voice in anything. And I think he just did such a terrific job of kind of taking the SpongeBob DNA and merging it with his, and he's really athletic, and he can sing, and he can dance. That's a really athletic part where you got to be doing. You know, he was a wrestler and a gymnast, you know, so he's got to be doing all this physical stuff while he's singing and talking in that voice. I thought it was great. Yeah, it's going on the road in 2019, 2020. They just posted all the dates, you know, online. So, but yeah, I highly recommend seeing it. I think it's really unexpectedly terrific. Yeah. Thank you.
I just met you yesterday.
I know, I recognize you.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great, man.
Good. So I want to become a voice actor like you. So any advice?
Yeah. Well, boy, I could stand up here for 2 hours and give you advice on how to be a voice actor. All of it would boil down to don't do it the way I did it. But I did it all bass backwards. You know what I mean? Like I did stand up, and I did sketch comedy, like I said, and I was always trying to audition for voiceover. It was really hard, you know. And that was the one area that was hardest for me to break into. Like, I made a living as a stand-up comedian and an actor, like where I didn't need, you know, where I was making a living at. I didn't need a day job anymore, and which was great, but I just couldn't get my nose under that voiceover tent. And then finally, somebody saw me doing stand-up in LA at the Improv, and they were like, "Wow, you do a lot of characters in your stand-up. Have you ever thought about doing animation voiceover?" And I said, "I've thought about it every day since I was 6. You know what I mean? Like that's really, please, you know, take me with you, you know." And so that's how I got into it. But generally, the general answer I give is that D. Bradley Baker, who's an amazing voiceover guy that does Perch Perkins, the reporter on SpongeBob, and a whole bunch of other stuff on a million shows, you know, Avatar, The Last Airbender. You know, he does a lot of creatures and monsters and stuff, but he's also a great voice actor with words too, which sometimes he doesn't get enough credit for. But he's got a website called I Want to Be a Voice Actor. Just look up D. Bradley Baker, I Want to Be a Voice Actor, because we get asked this question by so many people, and it's a really complex answer. So D said, I'm going to put something online that's like one-stop shopping and really good information for people, you know, kind of the website that we all wish that we had when we were breaking in. So the easiest answer is go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, D. Bradley Baker's website.
All right.
I wish I had it.
All right, well, thank you, Tom.
All right, man, I'll see you in the booth, man. We'll try you someday. Don't take my job. Hi, I almost ran you down when I was capering around, didn't I? Sorry.
My name is Abby.
Hi, Abby.
My question is, what's your favorite thing about doing voices?
My favorite thing about doing voices, you know, I I would have to say that since I started out doing, stand-up comedy on a stage and playing in bands on a stage and on-camera characters, like the thing that I love about voiceover, like I love voiceover more than any of that other stuff. I'd rather be working on a cartoon than be in an Avengers movie or a big sitcom or anything. I'll take cartoons any day. And I feel like that's where my weird skill set is best used, you know what I mean? Like I think I've got like this oddball set of skills, and like voiceover is kind of the one place where, being able to ad-lib, being able to do characters, being able to learn songs really fast, all that weird stuff that like, when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm gonna be totally the most useless guy on earth, I'm gonna be sacrificed instantly. But like in animation, that stuff is valued, so that's really nice about it. And another thing, I would have to say, Abby, my favorite thing about voiceover is probably that it doesn't matter what you look like. You know what I mean? Like you're not a prisoner of your body. Like in the on-camera world, I would be playing like dorky middle-aged guys with glasses, Because that's what I am, you know what I mean? So they go, yeah, hey, how about him for the dorky middle-aged guy with glasses? But in voiceover and cartoons, I can be anything, I'm monsters and robots and, little kids and animals and handsome superheroes and, ugly deformed villains and, it's you can be anything. If you can sound like that character, you can be that character. So you're kind of freed of your physical form a little bit, So I would say that is the number one thing that I love the best about it. Thanks, Andy. Hey, man, that mic had to come up. You're a little taller than Abby. Do you have Chinese takeout with you?
Yeah, I was hungry, but I didn't want to miss this, so.
Great. Don't let that shrimp sit out in the sun for too long. You will die.
So I'm a big fan of your work. I'll be back from I'm not sure if you'll be able to see you in a Mr. Show with Bob and Dave.
Oh, thank you. Few people know it. 90s cult catch comedy show with David Cross and Bob Better Call Saul Odenkirk as the main creators of it.
Yeah, but Siri kind of touched on how you transition from comedy to voiceover, so I want to ask you about that. I was going to ask you, what do you like about writing music for SpongeBob? Because SpongeBob has a lot of really like funny, but also very catchy music. I wonder how much influence you have in the music creation process for the show.
Quite a bit. Again, Steve Hillenburg was a big music guy, and we liked a lot of the same music, and he, again, a gift that he gave me was going, well, you like music, you write songs, you played in band, wow, you write some of the songs for the show. I was like, wow, thanks, I mean, he was such a cool guy that he gave me a chance to do things that I don't know that I would have ordinarily pushed to do on my own. And so, because of him, I have a song on a Broadway show. I write songs for SpongeBob. Next month, me and Patrick are going to the Royal Palace of Monaco to meet with the royal family, which is like so wrong. It's like, hi. Nice to meet you, princess. That's how your SpongeBob and Patrick episode come to life.
Why are you meeting with them? I'm dying to know.
Well, it's a long story, but Steve Hillenburg, the Princess Grace Foundation, is a foundation that Princess Grace, the late Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco, started, where they just give grants to various artists in various disciplines: dance, playwriting, drama, animation, everything, and they help people who are they help students finish their final projects that don't have money. Hillenburg was not a well-to-do guy. He's a very blue-collar family. So the Princess Grace Foundation helped him at Cal Arts finish up. They gave him a grant to finish up his student short, which he thinks which kind of led to Rocko's Modern Life, which led to SpongeBob for him. So he was very grateful to that foundation and very active in working with it. So anyways, so that's why. So we've done a lot of work with him, with them by extension of Steve. But in terms of the input into the songs, it's really fun because you go, okay, if SpongeBob was gonna sing a song about this, or if SpongeBob was gonna write a song about this, what would it be? You know what I mean? Let's make it sound like it's him. And I have a co-writer named Andy Paley who, if you Google him, he's crazy. He's worked with everybody, Madonna, the Beach Boys, the Ramones, you know. He's 10 years older than me, and he's this music-loving, enthusiastic, cartoon-loving guy. And so him and I are just a perfect team creatively. We get along great, we write songs together, and we keep each other, we're very strict with each other. Like, let's not just have this lyric in there because it rhymes with this. We don't want this word in here because it rhymes with this word. That's not good enough to have it in there. So we're like, every line in the songs that we write should either be a joke or further the character of the person's of the character singing the song, like be about their character, or further the storyline of the song. So if it doesn't further storyline, character, or be a joke, it's out. You know, so which makes it a little more of a process. But yeah, it's really fun to do. You go down this rabbit hole. You know, like Best Day Ever when Andy and I wrote that, we were just like, let's write a song that encapsulates SpongeBob's philosophy of life, which is you get out of bed every morning and you jump out and you are just hoping it's going to be the best day ever. And a lot of times it's not. It sucks. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? You get slapped down, and then you just dust yourself up and get back up and go back to bed and go, maybe tomorrow is going to be the best day ever. So we said, it's kind of a hopeful song. So and it's kind of become anthemic, I think, because of that. That's why it winds up in commercials and theme park shows and Broadway shows and stuff. So yeah, it's really fun. And Gabby Tartakovsky let me write some songs back in the old days for Samurai Jack and stuff like that. And a Disney show called Handy Manny that was like a musical show. Yeah, they let me and Andy write all kinds of songs where they would go, how about a Frankie Valli Four Seasons sounding song about using a wrench, you know what I mean? We go, okay, that'll work, So yeah, it's a blast. It's a different hat to wear, so I like to stay interested and keep not being bored is kind of like my whole philosophy in life. That's all I want is not to be bored. So yeah, it's fun. And then it's writing those songs and recording those songs for SpongeBob and all these other shows resulted in me meeting all these great musicians, and we realized we all like this old 60s soul music, R&B, and we're all weirdo record collectors and stuff. So now we have a 14-piece band that plays around LA called Tom Kenny and the High Seas, and like people just love it. You know what I mean? We're jumping in the audience and jumping on top of tables, and like the horn players are running around, and it's again Steve Hillenburg set me off on another weird adventure I never thought I was gonna have. So yeah, I love the music stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Huh?
Hi.
Hi.
How did it feel being Patchy the pirate, and what was your favorite episode as him?
Wow. Well, I love that caveman one with the caveman and the robot, like in SpongeBob BC, and that was fun. It's funny, Patchy was just intended to be a one and done kind of thing. Like early on in SpongeBob, Hillenburg and I just started talking about, like the local kiddie TV show hosts that our local stations had when we were kids. If you're younger, you didn't grow up with this kind of TV, but when people of a certain age, there were these cartoon show hosts that would like have a cartoon show. You'd come home from school and there'd be a guy who was usually the local weatherman or whatever, like dressed like a pirate or a spaceman or something. He'd show some Popeye cartoons. And every local station had that guy. So we said, how about like a really low rent, like children's show host named Patchy the Pirate? And then it kind of grew from there that he was SpongeBob's biggest fan in the world. And he lived in the suburbs. He's like a pirate, but he lives in the suburbs, He's got like a driveway and a garage. Like he's only a pirate because he dresses like one, you know what I mean? He's got a parent, but he's kind of like, good morning, Patchy, morning, you have to get his paper, And we just thought that was really funny. And then it just kept on going. You know, it was fun to do. And in fact, I was just before I came here on Wednesday. I came here on Thursday night. On Wednesday, I was dressed like Patchy on a beach next to David Hasselhoff for the first time since 2004. Going, you know, been working with David Hasselhoff and just going, this is so weird. You know what I mean? Like sweating on this beach with like this purple velvet costume on, and like a hat, and a wig, and a patch, and my tooth is blacked out. David Hasselhoff is there looking exactly like he did in 2004, except better, you know. It was amazing. So yeah, I love doing Patchy. It's just totally stupid. Like just in that shoot, you know, they had me riding some weird-looking Patchy the Pirate tricycle around a park in Los Angeles, and like people were doing double and triple takes. Like most people were like, "What the heck is this?" And then there were some teenage girls that were cutting through the park on their way home from school, and they saw like Patchy the Pirate rides by them on a tricycle, and they were just the right age to freak out. You know what I mean? One of the girls started crying. She's like, "This is my birthday. I'm seeing Patchy the Pirate. It's my 16th birthday today. Oh my God!" It was intense, you know. So yeah, I love Patchy, because I do like doing on camera. Like I didn't mean to say that I don't like being on camera. But my favorite on camera stuff was always like sketch comedy. Like Mr. Show was great because I never really looked like me. You know what I mean? I always had like a weird disguise on, like a weird mustache or you know, prosthetics or some craziness. I guess basically I don't like the way I look. That's what it comes down to. But Patchy, I love it because everything's hit. You can transform and just be this. You can be this dumb pirate. And, you know, just abuse your parent. Thanks. That was great. Hey, I love your exit. I like it. I do that stuff all the time, and then I don't realize I'm doing it. My parents go, "Dad." As much. Hi.
Hi. So I wanted to ask, what was it like working on Transformers Animated as Starscream?
Oh yeah, Starscream on Transformers Animated. Yes, Transformers Animated was great. It was fun. Yeah, Tara Strong was on it, and yeah, it was really fun. It was, you know, there have been so many iterations of Transformers, and the fandom is very intense. You know, that's another thing. Like voiceover, like inheriting a voice is really nerve-wracking because there's gonna be people that just hate you because you're not the last guy. You know what I mean? There's just gonna be, "Oh, thanks for raping my childhood," you know what I mean? So, you know, especially if you're doing an established character like Bullwinkle or Popeye or something, you know, like my hat's always off to guys like Jim Cummings who have managed to make Pooh and Tigger 100% their own. You know what I mean? And Jim Cummings does both those voices. But Transformers was a little bit. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. You know, I wanted to honor Chris Latta, you know, the original Starscream who passed away, but you know, I didn't want to be doing him 100%. You know, you want to leave yourself some room to, you know, that you can bring your own sauce to it, you know. And yeah, so I really had a good time. I had a really good time on that show, and they had me play a lot of other parts too, which is always fun. Like being the utility infielder on shows, like all us voiceover people love that, you know, because it helps you discover new voices where you have your main characters that you're playing, but you're also being this guy and this character that just comes in for one episode, or this robot that just, you know, comes in and fights and blows up, you know, or whatever. But it kind of helps you find new characters in new places. Yeah, I had a great time on Transformers Animated. I had a good time in the Transformers movies too, man. Michael Bay is a total maniac, but for some reason he loved me. Like I would see him, like he would make people cry. Like Michael Bay would make, like I remember there was like I probably shouldn't even be telling this story. Yeah, I saw him like dressed down like a crew member for bringing like the wrong cut of the movie, you know, because when we do it, it's all ADR, like the movies. I'm looking at whatever Shia LaBeouf or whatever, and then I'm looking at like some roadie with a mop, that's doing this where the robot is gonna go later, CGI in. So it's really weird. And then I'm voicing what's gonna be there. And somebody brought the wrong cut of the film, and like Michael Bay is just like tarred. And so he kept me like pretty mercurial is a polite word. But he always loved me. Like he could be in the worst mood, like just like walks in, and he's got a million things on his plate. And then he would see me and go, "Hey, Tom Kenny, how are you? Yeah, hey, what weird snake charmer magic do you have?" I don't know. He loves me, Come ask questions. So yeah, it's always fun to be in Transformers world. I had a great time on that show. Thanks. I should add that I think Charlie Adler is Starscream in the Michael Bay movies, and he does a great job.
Hi, my name's Seth.
Hi, Seth.
I've been a real fan of you since Adventure Time, and my question is, how did you feel about Adventure Time ending?
Sad. Yeah, I love that show, and that was my Tuesday, So I go in there, and John DiMaggio is one of the funnest people to be in a booth with on Earth. If you've ever seen him at a con, you probably can tell. And Jeremy Shada, who's here at this con, he's the greatest, And he kind of literally grew up on that show. And
He stole the career from his brother.
Yes! I know, talk about sibling rivalry, right? Like when the Adventure Time pilot came, Jeremy's older brother was Finn, and then by the time stuff takes so long and show business development takes so long that by the time they were ready to go as a series, he was older and his voice sounded different. But there's this little Shada coming on up, So yeah, Jeremy did it, and then he just embodied the character of Finn so much that Pendleton Ward, the creator of Adventure Time, did something that shows never, ever do hardly, which was just age the character up because he didn't want to change actors, Like when you have a real kid on a show, it's kind of a short window before, something drops or some hair grows or something happens. And then they're gone, and you're like, dang, I like that kid, you know what I mean? I hope he's gonna be okay. It's like being in combat. You're like, I don't want to get too close to this guy because he might step out of line and throw up, And so it's kind of like that. And it was nice to have Jeremy there for all those years, and as the Ice King grew and matured, and they played out the Ice King's backstory, so did Finn. And I loved Adventure Time. I loved Pendleton Ward. Loved working with him. Loved working with all his guys, and those were really, really fun sessions and a lot of fun stuff to do in a real world. Like Ooh. Ooh is almost like Pendleton Ward's was a big Simpsons freak growing up, and Ooh is kind of like Springfield when you think about it. There's just like a million characters. It's like this expansive world with all these major and minor characters and kingdoms and fiefdoms, and as a voiceover person, it was good because somebody's got to voice all those characters. So it's good for us. So yeah, I loved it, but I did not like it when it ended. However, 100% based on nothing, just talking out of my, but that was almost like SpongeBob mocking SpongeBob. I just have a faith that Adventure Time's gonna be back sometime. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I have no, that's based on nothing, like I said. I have no insider trading knowledge, but I think Adventure Time's gonna come back. Maybe somebody like you will, get to it, when you're older, and you'll recreate it and reboot it, and hopefully you'll give an old guy a job.
Thanks for answering.
You got it, Zach. Thanks for asking.
I'm doing great. I'm loving it.
Can I get you anything?
No, I'm good. Water? Thank you. No, I'm sipping on your coffee here. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Alex, and I'm a big fan of SpongeBob. And so in terms of SpongeBob, do you have any favorite episodes that you worked on?
Yeah, even after the Super Bowl, I still love Band Geeks. I gotta say, I have to work a little harder hard to watch it and not picture Adam Levine's man nipples. But I still love that one. And some of those early, and some of them, it's funny, some of my favorite episodes are ones that I just have really fond memories of recording. You know, like it's more about my sense memory of like what went on during the recording. So sometimes my favorite episodes are not everybody's, you know? But like, especially those early episodes, like the first one, you know, where the you know, where the bus comes up and Spyro has to feed everybody. Like, that was amazing. It was just, that was the first one we recorded. And just meeting all those guys for the first time that I would know for the next 20 plus years, you know, and doing these characters, like, and we just got along instantly, and all of us loved the characters and loved the show and loved Steve, and it was really, wow, you know. I would be happy if this just was a 7-minute short that people think is awesome. Like, even if it never went further than that, we would have loved it, you know, that would have been awesome. So I love that pilot, you know, stuff like Sailor Mouth, you know, that episode? Oh, yeah. Where SpongeBob and Patrick learn a dirty word and they just walk around, you know, throwing it around, and the grown-ups around them freak out, what did you say, you know? That's, you know, we probably all had that kind of happen in our life when we were little kids, or you know, a little kid that just drops an F-bomb and has no idea what it means, you know? And yeah, when my kid was little, he got sent to the principal's office for using the F word, and we're like, oh brother, you know, and then we found out that the F word was fart, and I'm like, oh, that ain't you call the parents for fart? Yeah, great, you know, but so in the recording of Sailor Mouth, you know, we were trying to like cuss, like rackin' frackin', like you know, make up like fake cuss words, and then Hillenberg just said, you know what? Just go for it. Just don't do fake ones. Just uncork the bottle, and especially you, Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs, like go for it, you know. And then we'll bleep it. We'll put dolphin sounds in. You know what I mean? I think it'll be better for the flow. And, oh my God! That may be the hardest I have ever laughed in a session. Like I mean, good. Yeah, Clancy's good. And yeah, I mean, there were words I've never even heard before. And we were just dying, you know. And man, if those recordings ever surface, that would be a heck of a DVD extra. That's a
Too hot for SpongeBob. The SpongeBob SquarePants they didn't want you to see. Tonight on 2020.
So yeah, I like a lot of them, man. They're fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
We have probably just over about 5 minutes.
Just over about 5 minutes.
Okay.
JOFM, just over JOAFM.
Lightning round.
About 5 minutes.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
Hey, I saw you yesterday.
Yeah, I recognize you.
Yeah, I was wearing a costume though. So.
I remember you, as the ice king would say.
So I've noticed that SpongeBob and Patrick annoy Squidward a lot.
Yes.
And they know that they are doing this because they celebrate Annoy Squidward Day. So my question is, are they just the biggest jerks in the world? Or like, is there some sort of miscommunication that the TV likes it?
Well, I've never thought about it like that. Because, you know, oh, they just are who they are, and Squidward is just a cranky jerk, you know? But then they're celebrating Annoy Squidward Day. So they know what they're doing. Wow, you just made my mind melt. Now I'm gonna have to rethink the whole character as the most evil jerk. Wow, SpongeBob's gonna get the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm taking this to Glove World. Well, thanks for giving me something to keep me awake at night.
Hey, I have to just interrupt. There's someone out here recording and your flash is on, so I can't see. We can see. Thank you. With your question.
Hi. So, I kind of like Transformers Animated, one of my favorite series, and I wish they kind of did a season 4, but I wanted to ask, what was your favorite episode? Like, any character that you voiced? Any episode, like, favorite episode?
In Transformers Animated?
Yeah.
Man, you know, that was one of those ones like, you know, it was definite arc, you know, and I also got to play Subdak, you know, that was the father of Strong. And, you know, he was a big guy. So I think probably the episodes I liked, and I can't remember episodes or titles or whatever these years later, but the ones that kind of had those tender moments between him and the daughter, you know, that was kind of fun stuff to play that you know, I don't usually get a chance to do so much of that kind of stuff. So, you know, kind of the Subdak-centric episodes were the ones that I kind of enjoyed, you know.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm gonna have to look up which episode was yours so I can give you a better answer.
Hi, so I grew up on SpongeBob. I'll be 24 this year, so literally from the beginning, SpongeBob is my favorite.
You're gonna be 24?
Yeah.
What's funnier than 24?
That one I remember, I was just laughing because it was so stupid. It was great.
What was your most fulfilling part of being SpongeBob?
Wow. You know, I think just that's a multiple layer question because just being employed is fun. Being employed on something you love, you really like is fun. Then when that thing you're working on turns out to mean something to families and little kids, that's like an unexpected benefit, you know, perk, I should say. And then that leads into things like, you know, and I don't want to be like, you know, corny or self-serving or whatever, but, you know, stuff like where you realize that this character you voice has the power to make people that are really sad happy. You know what I mean? Like you go to whatever hospital, kids hospital or something where people are sick, or a charity event or a food kitchen or something like that, and like people that really need a laugh, SpongeBob makes them laugh. You know what I mean? Like it gives them whatever 11 minutes in their day that aren't bad, you know, and to me that is like the thing that you know, you don't even think about when you're doing the show 20 years ago, and now you go, wow, again, thanks Hillenburg, you know. So yeah, I would say that's probably the main thing is like, you know, SpongeBob has this place in people's hearts, and when they're going through something tough, SpongeBob is often kind of a go-to place for them. You know, for laughs, you know, or people will say, you know, my childhood was kind of bad, was kind of terrible, and SpongeBob was like a bright spot in it, or, you know, I used to watch SpongeBob with my father or my grandfather or whatever, and so, you know, some of these people are no longer with us, and so SpongeBob was kind of a connecting point to them, and when they see it now, it makes them think of those things. So yeah, it's like they're totally unexpected and mind-blowing, you know, so that's probably the stuff that I'm still kind of wrapping my mind around after all these years, you know, the ripple effect of the character.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, this will be our last question.
Can I take one from the girl in the Golden Girls shirt? We'll be really fast.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I like your familiar.
I was wondering if you could, what's your favorite SpongeBob quote, and if possible, could you sing a verse from the Campfire song?
Sure. Let's see. One of my favorite quotes.
You do like Krabby Patties, don't you? Patrick, your genius is showing.
Those are two of my favorites. And wow, Campfire song. That's one that amazing that I think we did in one take, and then I will probably never be able to do it again.
It's my C-A-M-P-F-A-R-E-S-O-N-G. I blew it already. It's my C-A-M-P-F-A-R-E-S-O-N-G song. My C-A-M-P-F-A-R-E-S-O-N-G song. And if you don't think that I can do it better, then you're wrong. But it'll help if you just sing along. It's my C-A-M-P-F-A-R-E-S-O-N-G song. My C-A-M-P-F-A-R-E-S-O-N-G song. And if you don't think that I can do it better, then you're wrong. But it'll help. It'll help if you just sing along.
Golden Girl.
Yes.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want.
And then we're going over.
Then you're going back to your table. No, you're fine.
How are we doing? Let me get phone.
1:15. You're good.
Somebody's texting you.
Hey,
No,
hey.
I'm
What's in the audience?
Jade, you rascal. Hi.
fascinated that you even know what the Golden Girls is. So really, I just had you come up so that I could ask you a question. How do you know about the Golden Girls? I'm Tom. Hi.
Golden Girls from my friend.
You know about Golden Girls from your friend?
Yes.
Cool. Are you cosplaying as a Golden Girl right now?
Nope.
Nope. That's good. That's a part you can age into. That's good.
So my question is, what did you think about them playing sicko mode at the Super Bowl?
What did I think of what?
Them playing sicko mode instead of Sweet Victory at the sicko mode. At the Super Bowl.
You know, it's funny. I think that might be the first Super Bowl I've ever watched. Because believe it, yeah, you can't tell this from looking at me, but I'm not a jock. Whoa, surprise! But I think, yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I watched it like everybody else, you know, and I was like, and I knew that they were going to use it, and I was all excited. And they, you know, the NFL had paid us to like use the voice. I'm like, yeah, that's good, you know. And then I tuned in. I was like, that's it. It's like Patchy in that episode. Oh, a stupid walk cycle. That's all. I was like Patchy in my own house. But you know, I was glad that Spongebob got to be a part of it. But it's like, wow, like 1 million people signed that petition. Like, I didn't understand. What's your name?
Lorelai.
Lorelai?
Yes.
What a beautiful name. Yeah, you know what, Lorelai? I guess I was just puzzled. I didn't understand why they would go there but not go there. You know what I mean? Like, why tiptoe all the way up to the line and then like not cross it? You know what I mean? So who knows? Who knows how these giant corporate entities think? But yeah, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more of it. It seemed like too short. You know what I mean? I could have done with a little less of Adam Levine's man boobs. Thanks, Lorelai.
Very last question. Please give a huge thank you to
We're going to do an audience photo. By the way, what's your name? It was Plankton yesterday? Yeah, give it up for Gerard, who was rocking Plankton yesterday. Gerard was going to do us.
audience behind you. Everybody. All right. Thank you again, guys.
Hey, thanks everybody. Come on down to the table. I hope I wasn't too boring. Thanks a lot, and thanks for coming to Phoenix Fan Fusion.